Shout out to Kop-Ish.
Shout out to Kopish, guys.
All the good work
the
up.
two legends, Emil Heskey, Howard Gill. Can't get much better than that guy. Yeah. You know what to do now. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm with legends, guys.
Kop-Ish.
Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to another Monday night live show. As always, when we get behind the mic, all that we ask is that you subscribe, comment, and like. It's a new week, but unfortunately, it's the same old Liverpool. Man like Matt, how you doing, my bro?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I've had better weeks. I've had better better weekends just gone. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a lot going on. I think, bro, I don't know. Well, obviously, we're gonna chop it up in regards to our club because I think there's a lot to say. In fact, do you know what? Actually, I want to say this and I hope I'm not stepping on any topics that we're gonna do. So if I say what I'm gonna do before I even do, just in case I don't, I wanted to speak about Jurgen Klopp in his entirety, like just a quick 2 minute.
Do you know I didn't have that on the agenda, my bro. All right, the floor is yours.
All right, so just quickly, people, I was thinking about all day today about Jurgen Klopp and how we feel about him, where do we stand as a club and whatnot. I came to the conclusion, that we have to support this guy, We can't give up on him now. The reason I say that, is because he's the first manager, obviously, to get us that Premier League. He got us the Champions League. He's made us play some of the best football we've ever seen. Not only that, he's turned Liverpool from a club that used to be always next season to a club that was always challenging for the last, 4 years. If there's ever a time that we kind of got to give man our faith as well, even when things don't look good, it's now, because he's under the cosh, innit? He's under pressure. Do you know what I mean? He knows that.
It's the way he did it in slow mo.
One second. Bro, man was eyeballing me yo.
Is
this what you mean? Is this what you wanted to say? But now, what I was gonna say is as well, is that we're under a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of this whole: is it FSG? Is it Klopp? In it, it's either who is it? Which one is it? Klopp? Is it FSG? Yeah, I'll say this year. Jurgen Klopp hasn't had the financial backing that he should have had in it. And I know there's clips going viral saying, where would I get a midfielder? Jude Bellingham, great player, but we have all these youngsters. I hear that. But I also know that fact is he hasn't had that financial backing, and he never has. So when we talk about a Man City, when we talk about a Chelsea, he's never had the financial backing where he can actually sit there and go, this is what I need going into next season. I think Klopp, even though to his detriment, has always found a way to make it work. And he's always going to be one of those managers. He's never going to be the manager that's going to stamp on the owner's neck and say, you better give me that. If not, it's problems. I think when he says phrases like, I wish we could be a bit more adventurous, or I think it's adventurous, the phrase. Risky. You're risky. That's him saying, I wish I had more money. And for me, that's kind of telling because, Rob, is that a firework?
Yeah, but I think that might have fallen in my garden one sec.
Yeah. Right, it's all kicking off now. But yeah, people, I carry on. But I think it's more of a case of he's never had that financial backing. So if there's ever a time we got to back him, it's kind of now, people. I get it, because Klopp's made mistakes. Don't get twisted. He's made a lot of mistakes, actually. A lot of mistakes he has. There's no denying that. Because some of the substitutions don't make sense. Some of the tactics don't make sense. Sentimental value, some of it don't make sense. I hear that. Don't get me wrong. Klopp is not a god in it. He's human like us. He's made a lot of errors. However, I don't think it's our time to turn our back on him now. I really don't. I think here's another thing where I think we can really judge it. This is me being real. If Jurgen Klopp is given a decent budget, and we say decent because we're never going to get a Man City or Chelsea, but a decent budget, and he's still not able to do nothing, that's when I will say, you know what? I'm not too sure. Big man's still got it in him, Maybe he's run his course. But I don't think we're at that phase yet. And I know, we've spoken about many times on this show, are whether he's denied signings or not. The truth of the matter is he may have for whatever reason. But one thing we do know is that financially he hasn't been backed, as he's a top manager and we're supposed to be a top club, and the two don't go hand in hand. So I'm not trying to say it's all FSG, and I'm not even trying to say it's all Klopp. But what I am saying is, for me anyway, it's leans way more heavily, in my opinion. It leans more on FSG, but Klopp does take blame. But I think we have to back him, because I think this might be a season where we have a lot of pain, but hopefully the following season, like I said, if we get that investment, then or just some type of movement in transfer market, then we can see if Klopp is about that life. That's just me.
Do you know what, Matt? Everything you say, I do agree with. Like, I know everyone thinks I'm Klopp out, no matter how many times I say I'm not. My frustration with Klopp is, do you know, I've got a few frustrations. Last summer for me was, in my personal opinion, completely on Jurgen Klopp. The summers before that, I believe, was on FSG. But here's the thing, because Jurgen Klopp contradicts himself so many times, it's really hard to know where we stand with him. Now, and again, I'm not expecting him to come out and be like, these lot don't back me. They never have, they never will. I'm not expecting that. But where you say, for example, he says, I wish we could be a bit more risky. On the other hand, he turns around and says, why do I need another midfielder? You tell me, what type of midfielder do I need? And it's like, bro, if every single fan in the Liverpool fan base can see this, but you can't, then that for me is not a good thing. Then you look at other situations where in the past he said he likes a smaller squad and stuff like that, which again, people can change. I think in the past he did like to work with a smaller squad.
Yeah, I think that's changed. Yeah.
And you can do that in Germany, because at the time there was only 2 horses in the race. Now it's a different situation. I personally think he prefers having a bigger squad, but I think he prefers having a bigger squad of players that he doesn't want to get rid of. Now, FSG are, in my opinion, too ruthless. Klopp's not ruthless enough. I don't think at the time I don't even think Klopp should be questioned for extending Hendo's contract. Like, if FSG had got rid of Hendo then, or didn't renew his contract, there should have been uproar, and rightly so, because Henderson was playing very well at the time and he's our captain.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Klopp shouldn't be like, all right, he's got a new contract, he's the only man I'm starting in this position. It should be, right, I'm extending Hendo's contract. Hendo, you're not a guaranteed starter, and I'm looking to bring in my man here, and you're going to compete for your position. I think that's what the issue is. I think they need to find a way of meeting in the middle somehow. But at the same time, Klopp has to drop this sentimentality. He has to. And he's got to drop the stubbornness and the tactics. Just, they blow my mind at the moment. Like, when we lose games like the Man United game and stuff like that, when you look at it and you're like, right, Nunes got himself sent off. Jota was injured at the time. But you're starting Milner and I think it was Milner and Elliott in that game. And I'm like, how do you expect us to go to Old Trafford with Milner and Elliott in the midfield and win that game when Man United have been playing better than they were last season? So even though I'll sit here and I'll tell you FSG out and they need to be better, the football we played this season isn't on FSG. That's on Jurgen Klopp and the staff who were coaching the tactics, etc. But again, another issue that we've got is we're not going to know how much Klopp wants to spend unless the owners go, and vice versa. We're not going to know how much the owners want to spend unless Klopp goes. One of them's got to go, and it can't be Klopp.
I agree, because
but it will.
No, sorry, bro. Go on.
It will be Klopp, because these owners aren't going anywhere. As much as I'd love to wake up tomorrow and see FSG is selling to blah blah blah, they ain't going anywhere. And I hate to say it, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, Klopp will be leaving before these owners, unless something drastic happens. And I'm not talking about we fall out of the Champions League, because we'll still get into Europa, and that's not drastic. I'm talking about fans rising up, stop buying merch, stop going to games, like doing a madness to really hit these lot. And even then, bro, we've seen these lot raise the ticket prices, the fans have a little revolt, and then they're back in the good books again. We saw it when they did the furlough. Fans had a little revolt, back in the good books again.
Saw it
Rotted.
again. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I might go over to the next door neighbours soon. Still. We
have,
saw
have a
it.
word. Yeah, have a quick word.
We saw it with the European Super League. Everyone's up
Yeah.
in arms. He comes out with a little apology video, and
Yeah.
everyone's good again. So it's like we sit here and we're like, oh, Klopp's being too sentimental, this, that, and the other. But as fans, we're the exact same. Like, and I'm not even labeling any particular fans, but we are the exact same. We are the only club, if I'm not mistaken, that didn't protest the ESL. Now, I'm not saying we got to shut down games, but we're the only fans that didn't. But the other owners have been putting more money in. And again, I'm not going to compare them to the Glazers because I think they are better owners than the Glazers.
Yeah,
But the Glazers put more money into the squad. They do everything else wrong, but they put more money into the squad. Chelsea's owners speak for themselves. Man City's owners speak for themselves. Arsenal's owners are putting more money than us. Where's all the? Why can't we put in more money? And again, but here's the flip side again, no, Matt. Is it a case of Klopp saying, I only want Tchouaméni and no one else? Because if that's the case, Klopp can't function like that.
Do you know what?
We're always going to be chasing our tail.
One thing I will say to this, and I was just thinking about now, actually, you're talking about Pep Guardiola last season wanted to get Harold Kane. That was the one striker they wanted. Do you know what he said? I'm not getting him. If I can't get Kane, I'm not getting him. We'll reassess it. And lo and behold, they still won the league. They had a better squad, obviously. And then now look, they went and got Haaland. Now, people might forget about that, how that came about in terms of like he wanted one player and didn't go for an alternative. They said, we're not going to go have a striker for the year and we'll see wild one. But obviously, they backed themselves.
They still had Jesus, though.
No, I hear you. But we tried to. I think Klopp kind of backed himself, but I think it's less of a good backing because you know the situation when it comes to injuries, like the midfielders as well. Like we're talking, and because here's the thing, Carl, what Tchouaméni's doing at Real Madrid, yeah, it don't even surprise me one bit because Tchouaméni has been playing so well, and he was always going to be that guy.
He's brilliant.
And Bellingham is and funny enough, yeah, Bellingham's taking his game to another level. If those are the two midfielders that he wanted, I don't think there's anything wrong with him waiting. But what I am saying is that maybe what you could have done though is still go and get Bellingham and Tchouaméni. No, Bellingham 2023. But you still know we need to get something now though. Yeah. And you know the situation isn't as good as what Man City had at that time when they had no striker. Because even though, yes, they're probably the one team in the world, very few of them, that can do the false 9 thing. No, in fact, play with no striker. Them man will play Kevin De Bruyne up front, and it don't even make no difference. They're one of the very few teams that could do that. Maybe like a Bayern could do it, maybe or a PSG. I don't know, PSG they got to be strikers, but there's very few clubs that can do that. I think we just have to keep it real. When Klopp did say he wanted Tchouaméni, and Tchouaméni left, and then for Real Madrid, and then Mane leaves, and then we go and get the replacement for Núñez. Sometimes I do find it hard to believe that Klopp just think, hey, bruv, you know what? Yeah, it's such shit, man. We have to wait for Bellingham then. I'm not gonna. I don't know. There's some of this because there's a part of me that feels like, how much money did we really have? And I always feel like, as a Liverpool fan, we always, as fans, we have to be the accountants. We know more times than not how much money we have to spend. Do you want to know why? Because the first thing we do is we look at our player sales. Imagine that. So when the season finishes, everyone goes on Twitter, Google, whatever. You're gonna search, find out the latest who's been sold. Yeah,
I'm drawing up spreadsheets, bro. I'm not.
That's what I'm saying. Transfer market, like we do all of that because we want to see, okay, how much money have we recouped in? Because we're probably gonna not get that much to add on top of what we already have. And sometimes I feel like, sometimes that's just not enough for a club of our size. If we were like a team that always finished 10th or 11th, that's understandable. But sometimes, bro, like we said, and we're not even greedy as Liverpool fans, we just need more. Because if we want to be successful, you need to spend. It's mad, isn't it? Because it's like, if you go and buy something from the shop more times than not, say like you're wanting to buy a pair of trainers, and say the pair of trainers are like, I don't know, £10 or £20. The pair of trainers might last you for a little bit, but you kind of know deep down they won't last you for long. Well, if you spend a bit more, maybe £50, £60 on a pair of trainers, it's not just about the brand. More likely than not, they probably will last a bit longer because it's better quality. And that kind of goes for like with jeans and stuff like that, like wear and tear. Like, and I feel like FSG, do too many of these. All right, we'll give Klopp this. I think he should better find something, man. Find a little something. See what he can do. Because when you deep it, Carl, Liverpool Football Club nearly won a quadruple, and they gave us Fabio Carvalho, Darwin Núñez, and Calvin Ramsey. But if we said that about any other team that went for a quadruple, we'll be like, right, their owners must really don't care about
Not to mention, and here's the thing, Matt. This is where you got a caveat as well. If we had kept most of the players, let's say we had kept Minamino, Origi, and we had sold Ox and Naby, for example. In fact, no, not even those two. Let's say it was Ox and I know one other player.
Yeah.
And we still brought in Ramsey, Carvalho, and Núñez.
Yeah,
we're good.
Yeah,
let's say it's Ox and Mane as opposed to Minamino and Origi, but you still brought in those others. We're all right, you know.
That's what I'm saying, bro. But it's like, do you know what we are? Like, there's too much of like what it is with us, and I think I've used this analogy bare times before. Like,
sorry, Matt, but at the same time, could you not argue that Klopp was backed with what he wanted in the summer? Because he wanted, like, Núñez was his guy. He wanted Núñez.
No. But he's not the problem. See, because Origi and Minamino left, and you just got in Núñez. Theoretically, Núñez is covering two bodies. Because Carvalho is a tough one. Because even though I know Carvalho is mad talented, I don't know whether Carvalho is one of those players that walk. I don't think Carvalho, as great as he is, walks into our starting 11. Because if you think about the last 4 years of Liverpool, 3 years of Liverpool, when we was at our peak, so to speak, bro, Carvalho, if we signed a player of Carvalho back then, remember how we used to talk about earlier? We used to say, like, yeah, he's good, but he can't play now. Bro, if you can't, when you've got Mane, Salah, Firmino, Jota doing Diaz. A madness, Diaz, you're thinking Harvey Elliott, as great as he is, he's not getting into that team. He can't be. And you got Gini Wijnaldum back in the day, Fabinho when he was on crud. Bro, that midfield was on crud. But you know what's so crazy? Wijnaldum left, we just replaced him with Thiago. But what needed to happen was when Wijnaldum, because we needed a body when Wijnaldum was still there and we brought in Thiago. Then what we needed to do is get the person to replace Wijnaldum. We just done a swap though. We needed still the extra body and someone with his type of skill set. When I say skill set, I'm talking about that durable sentiment that can do everything. And that would have been Tchouaméni, to be fair. He would have been able to do everything. I think Tchouaméni could do a bit of everything. Not maybe as good as Wijnaldum in ball retention wise, but he can play the 6, he can play the 8, innit?
Yeah.
Bro, we do too much of this. We'll just, like I said before, the PS5 is out and we want to keep selling our PS4 games to buy the PS5 game. You're going to run out of PS4 games after a while still, and the budget's going to get a bit thin. Then what are you going to do? What, you're going to start selling controllers? Well, you got a spare control. You're going to sell the controller. So it's going to start we're getting like that. Like we there's nothing more left to sell unless we force a sale.
But all right, I'm glad you said that about forcing sale. Again, this is why I don't know if it's Klopp or FSG. Because Tchouaméni was unattainable and we got Núñez. Now, we'll never know if... I presume we wouldn't have, but we'll never definitively know that if we got Núñez, that means we weren't getting a centre midfielder and vice versa.
Yeah.
But let's say, for example, because again, Tchouaméni and Núñez were both wanted, and it was obvious that we wanted both players, innit?
Yeah.
Like, very obvious. Tchouaméni goes very early to Madrid in the window. You've got Basuma, and again, I hold my hands up with Basuma. It's a case of apparently he's not a very good or professional trainer, hence why we didn't look at him. Fair enough. I only see what I see on the pitch, but I've been hearing conflicting stuff about him at Tottenham.
Yeah.
You've got Matheus Núñez. You've got Vitinha. You've got so many midfielders that moved. Yeah. And we ended up with Artur. And we only ended up with Artur because Naby got injured before the end of the window.
Agreed.
That for me is so reminiscent of the centre-back situation when we only got a centre-back because Matip got injured in the Spurs game before the end of the window.
Yeah.
We are not planning ahead. And if we're not planning ahead, then we're never going to keep up with Man City nor continue to mount a challenge. Fabian Ruiz was another one. Enzo.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many players that move. Even when you look at Kraver, who went to Napoli. Again, are we using data rather than actually going out and scouting players as well.
Hey, see, this is where I put some blame on Klopp because, all right, if you know how good something is and you want to wait, sometimes there's no harm, but you've also got to understand the
Sorry
situation
to
you're
cut
in.
you, Matt. You
Yeah,
know, it was Hendo that got injured.
yeah.
Apologies.
Oh,
Naby
yes,
was
Hendo.
already injured. Apologies.
Here's the
guys.
thing.
Hendo.
This is where the sentiment and mistrust comes into play. These players are running.
Tillemans was right.
I know. They've run their socks off for Klopp, and they've given everything that they've had for Klopp, and he still believes that they can still do that. And sometimes that kind of like that sentiment that you have and that trust that you have in someone, the realization might only hit you when it's too late. And I think that's what's happened. I think he genuinely felt after the quadruple we went for, these guys can go again for one last time. It was almost like one last ride. They can do it again. Hence why he has a habit of bigging up players even when he knows they're about to leave, Cal. He's done it with Wijnaldum. He's done it with Chan. He's doing it with Naby Keita. Bruv, he's doing it with Ox. He'll do it with a lot of the players. He feels they got one last thing out of him. He thinks in his brain, because he's a great man manager, bro. He's one of the best. He's one of the best of our era.
Yeah.
He thinks he can extract everything from that player and go, this is a gamble, but I think we can do this. The problem is, though, is that, like I said, it's a gamble. And us Liverpool fans know, because we're not being sentimental, it's not a very good calculated gamble. Like, we could have all sat here before a ball was kicked and said, Ox and Naby will be injured within the first couple of weeks of the season. They might not even make it through pre-season. And look what happened. And it got worse because at one point we had like 9 players out in the first 4 games of the season. I think that's what it is. I think Klopp trusts the players too much, and he feels like he could have done it one last time. That's where he went wrong. But I don't think. And again, that leads into tactics as well, because that goes into the whole thing, innit? That feels like that's him saying, "I know
a mess this
season."
season.
Bro, you have to understand, he's probably even scratching his head, thinking, "But we was in a quadruple and we were literally like smothering teams. We were smothering teams, bro. Especially the last 2 months, smothering teams so they couldn't breathe. Look what we did to Man City. We were smothering, and I know there were warning signs. Look at the Spurs game. Obviously we lost in the final to Madrid. There were signs, but I think he thought we could go one more time, and I think we'll be all right. But misplaced judgment, bro.
It's very misplaced, Matt, because let's be
honest.
That's
what I think it is.
We're not footballing genius. We're just fans. And I'll be the first to put my hands up. I do not know anything near to what Klopp knows about football or management or anything. But again, I'm also not a Formula One driver. But if I can see an accident brewing or I can see someone driving dangerously, I can comment on that by having common sense. The Real Madrid game wasn't even a red flag for me, Matt. Do you know why? Because Courtois pulled out a 10 out of 10 performance. Courtois pulled out the same type of performance Alisson's been pulling out all season.
Yeah.
It's as real as that. It just happened to be on that night. I can live with that. Did it hurt? Yeah, it hurt. But I can live with that because we went out there, we created way more chances in Madrid. We just came up against a magnificent goalkeeper and we switched off once and we got punished for it. It happened. The Spurs game, I can live with that again because we were beating on the door. We just didn't get it right on the day. Again, one switch off moment, we got punished for it. It's harsh, but it's a lesson you learn in football. But when I see the season start and we're struggling against Fulham, first game of the season.
Yeah, I know.
When I'm looking at pre-season, Matt, and I'm seeing our players looking leggy in pre-season.
Yeah.
I'm looking at players, and I hate to go through players one by one, but I'm looking at the fact that, again, he hasn't done anything wrong recently, but I'm just looking at standard quality. In fact, you know what? I'm not going to mention his name because people might pile on, and I don't want that attention. But I look at the fact of we sold Nico, or should I say Nico wanted to go because he wasn't happy with his playing time. And we brought in another right back. We don't even know if he's an improvement on Nico. If we're selling one player to buy another, you're hoping to upgrade on that player.
Yeah, agreed.
You're looking at Joe Gomez, who's got a horrible injury record. Again, didn't even want to speak about it the other day. Nat Phillips. Everyone speaks about Gomez 18, 19, how brilliant he was. And he was. But that was 4 years ago almost. But Nat Phillips in that running where we had no centre-backs and we needed top 4 was about as good of a centre-back performance we've seen over 10, 12 games as we've seen at Liverpool. He's had no chance since then. But you look at other players like Gomez, who's been stinking up the place and he's been getting chance after chance after chance. If you're Nat Phillips, you're looking at it going, okay, Kanate out injured, Matip's out injured, Virgil's in bad form, Gomez is in bad form. I still can't see the pitch. How is that for his mental and his morale? His morale. Then you look at left back situation. Robbo was throwing up stinkers. Now, granted, Robbo's turned it around just like he did last season. He's throwing up stinkers. Tsimikas was in good form at one stage, and he's dropping Tsimikas when he's in good form. Again, what do you say to Tsimikas when he's like, well, I'm playing well, but I'm getting dropped for a guy who's literally just come back from injury? Then you move into midfield. Flacco's had no competition for the longest amount of time, has been running to the ground. I'm not surprised to see Flacco like this. I'm not. When I actually peel it back and I just look at it for what it is, he's been running to the ground. Hendo's been running to the ground and been asked to play number 8, where we all know his best position's in the 6 now because of his physical standing. Naby and Knox, they have one great game and then they're injured for the longest time. Why weren't they changed? Why weren't they upgraded on? Curtis Jones, bro, let's be real. When was the last time you saw Curtis Jones put 2-3 games together that you thought, right, this kid got I tell you when, Matt, 1920 when lockdown happened.
Yeah, that was it, 1920.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Then you look at the situation with Harvey Elliott and Carvalho. Carvalho's just come to the club. Elliott is still a kid coming back off a bad injury from last season.
They're having to be saviors.
Virgil had a career-ending injury season before last. Last season, he plays virtually every minute in the league, pretty much. That's crazy again. Then you look at the attack. We've sold Mane, who is arguably along with Salah, is our most durable player in that front line. We sold him because he wanted to go, fair enough. Brought in Diaz, again, very unlucky with the injury he got. Jota, we know is kind of injury prone. Firmino, we know he's injury prone and is now having to play because there's no one else. You look at Salah, who's there to give Salah competition? What's happening to Flacco now, unfortunately, could happen to Salah next season now because he's just been running to the ground since 2017 and it's 2022 now. What is the development plan and why is it we're seeing so many players who can throw up stinker after stinker or be injured season after season and still be at the club? And then Klopp turns around and says, unless someone comes to my door and says, I want to leave, I'm not selling them. And you can say he's saying that, but bro, when you actually look at the evidence, who's left the club without asking to leave? Mane left because he wanted to leave. Nico, Minamino, Origi, all these players wanted to leave. Shaqiri,
I think it's a double.
They wanted to leave, bro.
It's a double-edged answer. Severe lack of investment and Klopp's misplaced trust in players. I think that's what it is, in my opinion. So the lack of investment is obvious, and the misplaced trust is him probably thinking certain man can still do it, and they just can't.
How much extra do you think we needed to spend in the summer? In fact, do you know what? I'm gonna save that question.
Save it.
When was the last question? When was the last summer when the window shut and you said we've got absolutely everything we needed to do in that window sorted?
18-19.
No.
Was that the year? Basically, the year where we got Fabinho, Shaq, Ali. Was that 18-19? Was that 18-19?
We were still lacking an attacker.
But you know, I came away thinking, no, we're all right, you know.
No, we were all right.
But that's the best
That's the closest.
But that's the closest. Do you know what's so mad? We've never been perfect, but that's the closest I felt, though. Like, when we brought in those players, and remind me of the players, Carl. So it was Fabinho, Shaqiri. Hold on, was Naby one of them? Hold on, Fabinho.
So Naby was signed the season before, but he stayed on loan. So he joined.
But we didn't actually get him till 18-19 season because I remember because I was there for his first game against West Ham. So let's just say, for argument's sake, because we didn't bring him into that season. Naby, Alisson, Fabinho, Shaqiri. It was that. That was it, innit? Bro, then times thereafter, we're about that life.
That was the closest we've been. 100%. And
I remember we didn't have an attacker because I remember we
another position. Who was Robbo's backup that season?
And that was Milner, innit? Yeah, we didn't have everything. But, bruv, do you know what, though? This leans to FSG more so than Klopp, and I'll tell you why. If Klopp was willing to bring in 4 man in one summer, that says to me that he's okay with bringing in more than 3 players or even 2 players. Because
But the squad
remember,
was thin then, and it was still squad players that weren't really his picking.
but you know what's so mad though? The squad's getting thinner by default.
Well, quantity-wise,
Yeah.
it's not. Quality-wise, it bloody is.
Quality-wise, it is, bro.
8. Remember, after we won the Champions League, do you remember what we did in the window?
How can I forget? It's the worst window I think I've ever seen.
Adrian Elliott
You're forgetting one other
and
person.
Vandenberg.
Sepp.
And do you remember what we were fed? Sepp Vandenberg is just as good as De Ligt. And again, you know the only reason we got Adrian, right? Because Mignolet said he wanted to leave.
Yes.
That's not good enough.
And do you remember Adrian was free?
Adrian was free. Sepp Vandenberg, with all due respect to the kid, how's he helped us? We're only starting to see the benefits of Harvey Elliott now.
Do you know, I remember, Cal, you got a better memory than me. That's all right. So just before we bought those players, was that the same summer where JW Henry categorically said Klopp could have whatever he wants?
Yeah. Which again,
bro,
this is why I don't know who it is, because
do you know what? That comment there, remember, that's the owner. That's quite telling. So, Cal, hear me out. Here's what I'm gonna say to you, and you give me your answer. That summer when he said Klopp can have whatever he wants, do you think he said to Klopp, you have a budget, you can buy these players, or do you think Klopp said, no, I'm good with those 3 players?
Honestly, bro.
No, Cal, honest answer.
No. Honestly, in my heart, I'd love to say Klopp wanted more. But honestly, Matt, I'm being so real with you right now. As much as I want to believe Klopp wanted more, because of how he's been moving, I don't know. Because let's be honest, if Mane says he doesn't want to leave, do we get Diaz and Nunes? I don't think we do. All right, in fact, I'll change it. If Minamino and Mane said they both wanted to stay at Liverpool, would we have got Nunes and Diaz? I think the answer is no.
Nunes and Diaz. May, and I say may. Hear me out. May have got Diaz, but definitely not Nunes. May, and I say May. It's a big May, though.
I honestly don't think so.
But you're probably right, though. It's a big May. You might have got one of them, and I think it would have been more so Diaz.
But the problem is we just don't know. And shout out to Kev in the comments, and shout out to LFC Day Trippers as always. Kev, you're right. We did win the league that year the year after. But we haven't won the league since, bro. And it's you can't credit the owners, in my opinion, because Klopp won the league that season. Because without Klopp, we don't win the league.
We had no injuries.
Without these owners, we probably still win the league with Klopp that season. Because everyone was at their peak. And we were very fortunate with injuries that season. Very fortunate.
That's that last bit you said. That's the last bit I wanted to say to you.
And we shouldn't have to be relying on injuries. Because let's be honest, Man City have won the league, three times since then? So they won it 1920. So
Man City, if they win it this year,
they won it
twice. Would have done a three-peat. They'll do a three-peat if they win it this year. So we broke it up in 1920, innit?
Man City had injuries a season where we won it, 1920. What did they do in that summer? They said, we ain't going to have that happen to us again. What did they do this summer? They lost Sterling, lost Jesus, and they went and got Haaland and Alvarez. Again, not like for like. But he said, you know what? I'm going to improve on at least one of them.
Yeah, quality. See, that's the thing. It's
He
not
said,
even about...
Last season, he said, right, we lost out in Champions League because we didn't have another DM or another player that could see out the game. And again, I know he got injured. Calvin Phillips brought in. They went and got a Kanji, sorry. They didn't even need him. But they said, we ain't going down again. Sergio Gomez went and got another left back. They've covered all their bases. And when I hear things like, we can't compete with Manchester City financially. I'm like, yeah, I agree. But we've proven we don't have to. You just have to be smart. No one's saying you got to go and spend the same amount as Man City. But you know, if you lose a player, go and try and improve on that player, please. It's not rocket science. Like no one can sit here and tell me. And again, this is nothing against Calvin Ramsey. I think he's got the potential to be very good. But is he very good now? Does he push Trent right now? Because you see the form Trent's in. He for me still doesn't start. Is Klopp going to start him? Is Klopp going to say, right, Trent, you've had 3 bad games. Calvin, you're in. I doubt it. Because he didn't do it when Nico was here. And Nico's more established. Nico's an international. So what's going to happen? I'll be honest, I'm so worried for the state of this team right now. So worried.
So am I. And I think one thing I want us to do, and I know it's going to be hard to do, because when things don't go right, we all look for who the culprit is. Yeah, it's hard not to like pinpoint who you think it is, but it sounds weird. But we kind of have to push that to one side and just keep showing more and more support, especially to Liverpool Football Club and the team that are out there right now. Obviously there's a lot of factors. For me, the main factor, and I don't want to turn this into a thingy, but for me, the main factor is the manager has his issues. However, I still think he's one of the best managers in the world. And I think that given the right tools, and he might even need to shake up a bit himself. You know, one of them ones, Cal, where someone just might need to just check you like and be like, bro, remember your Jurgen, you know? Remember, you know how to do this thing. If you need to go 4, 2, 3, 1. Yeah.
I know I'm going to get labelled crazy, and you know, maybe I deserve it. I still think he's the best manager of world football. Bro, and there's not a man alive that I want to replace Jurgen Klopp. Bro, I don't think there is a man alive that can replace.
Bro, that made me smile. You know why? Because that's how. Listen, he's still the guy. He is
in the same way Virgil is. But we are quick to call Virgil out. We got to do the same with Klopp.
No, I hear that. What it is that we're only seeing like spurts of it. So see, when we beat Man City, everyone reminded everyone that's who we are. And when Virgil and Gomez put them in performances, that's what we remember. Salah scoring that goal, that's what we remember. Like, it all starts trickling back to you. Like, no, that's the team that we actually are. But the problem is that there's just a lot of issues, like internal and external. And I think for me, it's more external than internal. So you know what that means. So it's going to be hard. I don't know. I think we're only going to see the real truth, Cal. Because you know I'm... Yeah, bro, do you know something?
I'd like to think
summertime.
Anyway.
Imagine if summertime come round,
don't.
A man buy one midfielder and say one other player, bro.
But would we be surprised, Matt? We'd be frustrated and annoyed. Would we really be surprised, though, bro?
And what could Klopp really do then?
This is why I fear. Because you see, if Man City were having this sort of season, we all know in the summer, that's it. That ain't happening to Pep again. Pep ain't letting that happen again. With us, I don't know.
But to be fair, Pep knows the owners are willing to financially basically like give him what it takes. I think that's the difference. That's for me, that's the main difference. Man City.
Or is Pep just more demanding than Klopp?
No, because we don't financially, we're not in the same, but we're not in the same realm.
All right, let's say, for example, Matt, we spent another 60 mil in the summer. That could have got you, just hypothetically, I'm not saying those are the two players. You could have got Basuma and Mateus Nunes for that money.
No, you couldn't have, you know. Mateus was about 40-something. Then you got, and I'm a Liverpool accountant now.
All right, let's say
it's close to 50 flat fee. Then you got to think about wages and agent fee. So you're looking around, I would say about, you need about 80.
We're the only ones that do this, and you know what? It drives me round.
No. But I'm just saying we would need between 75 to 80 to complete those two deals, in my opinion. We would need a bit more.
But you know what we've become, Matt? We've become LFC accountants.
No, I know, but I'm.
No, but all right.
So here's the transfer market. That's what I'm trying to say. That's how much I think.
Here's where we're hypocritical as fans. Yeah. You see, when a fan turns around to us and says, "Nunes cost you 100 mil," what do?
Yeah, I know. We rebuttal that with the facts, innit?
We rebuttal it with what? How much did he cost up front?
It was 65.
All right, but
flat.
none of us turn around and say, yeah, it was 65 mil up front. But you remember, we also paid this for agent fees. We also paid this for his wages and bonuses. We don't.
All right,
We don't.
let's
speak
just
about
say
it.
fee.
But
If it's the same fee, I'll still tell you, bro. You see, Nunes is no joke. So all jokes aside, Nunes was about 50, if I'm not mistaken, close to 50, and Basuma was about 25. So you're still looking about 75. That's what I'm saying.
no,
We would need
that's
about
fair.
75 mil, I'd say,
Fair dude.
and
But
that's not even crazy, bro.
the point stands. You see, when Liverpool fans speak of Haaland, what's the first thing we say? Well, his release clause was this, but look how much his dad's getting. Look how much, bruv. Honestly, that's none of our business. Like, is it a bit smelly that what they're doing? Yeah, it is a little smelly, man. It is.
Yeah.
But let's not act like we don't spend money when we have to. Sometimes, caveat, sometimes. Nunes was 64 mil up front, could rise to 100 mil euros. We still pay him a salary and we still pay him flipping agent fees and all that. But we're quick to not mention any of that with Liverpool. None of the journalists mention that. No one. But when we speak about other teams and other players, the first thing we do as Liverpool is go, how much did he cost? So what was his agent fee? What was his salary? And then we continue to bump up the price and go, well, I'm glad we didn't get him. Look how much he cost. Is he improving that team? And that team winning stuff? Because I'm going to be real with you. If Nunes cost the same amount as Haaland for everything, the complete package, and was doing what Haaland's doing right now, do you know what us Liverpool fans would say? Shut up the rest of the rivals. Because when Mane and Salah and Firmino were getting big boy bonuses, no one of Liverpool turned around and said, well, you know, we're getting quite a lot, aren't we? We turn around and say, shut up. These lot are producing on the pitch. I don't want to hear what you've got to say. And you know what rival fans did? They shut up because they couldn't say anything to argue the point back. But now all of a sudden we become accountants because we're here protecting FSG and we're protecting Klopp. We are culprits in this. And you know it's really hit me the other night. We're here digging out and chewing out Klopp and chewing out FSG. We need to look at ourselves in the mirror. And I'm starting with me, Michael Jackson. I'm looking at the man in the mirror, bro. Because I need to be held accountable as a fan as well. Because I'm not doing what I need to be doing as a fan. I'm here still acting like Liverpool's an underdog. We ain't an underdog, bro.
No, of course not.
I'm there still I'm still there buying kits, bro. Why am I buying kits if the team ain't spending?
But that's why I said. But that's one of my.
We're in the modern fans,
bro. The opening thing was me basically saying we got to back Klopp here, but you see, we haven't been like he hasn't had that financial backing, bro. 100%. I just went and checked now, so I was actually wrong. I hold my hands up. So apparently, Matthias Nunes was 42 or 38, rising to 42, and Basuma was 25. Right, so I got that wrong. What I will say is this, though. Other than the 18-19 season, which you brought up, I've never really felt we've ever done enough. Because
the nearest we got to it was the window where we got Tsimikas, Thiago, and Jota. But what was the glaring situation there? No centre back.
No centre backs. That's what I was going to say.
Look what it cost us.
This is what I was going to say. Bro, but to be honest, yeah, I'm going to be honest, like, we don't have to spend as much as Man City. That's not my argument. My whole argument was...
Oh, I know it's not yours. Sorry.
Yeah. My thing was Man City. What it is, though, they will pay what's needed to be successful. We are literally...
No, sorry to cut you, Matt. Harry Kane proves they're not.
No, but they just realized they were like, nah, do you know what? That's bad value for money. We'll go and get a better value. But they would have got Haaland.
Which proves they're not just throwing money.
Do you want to know something crazy?
They're just throwing money at it. Man United.
Should I tell you something that's crazy? I reckon that Haaland deal would have cost more than that Kane deal. 100%.
Maybe.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Bro, they looked at that and said, all right, we're going to spend X amount on Kane. And Tottenham are being stupid, by the way. Remember, Tottenham are rebuffing everything. They're just like, this don't make no sense. Let's just go and get the best striker in the world. We'll wait. We'll pay his release clause. Who cares if the dad wants 100 mil? We'll give it to him. Signing on fee, all of that. Bruv, they are okay to pay whatever they need to get what they need. And they do shrewd business. Alvarez is shrewd business. They do shrewd business. Akanji, shrewd business. Bruv, I think Akanji cost 17 mil, if I'm not mistaken. Shrewd business. However, let's not act like when they want to, they'll go and splurge a 50 on Walker. They'll splurge a 40 on Ake. they'll splurge a 60 or 50 on Diaz. When they want to splurge, they will splurge. They will look at it and go, Pep, is that the player you need? Don't even worry about the budget, bro. How much is it going to cost us? All right, tell it. WhatsApp me. Yeah, it's done. Wrapped. Still done. This is what I reckon happens at Liverpool. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually been heavily documented. Everyone brings a player to the table. Klopp, whoever, Pep Linders, Retete, Barry, what's his name? Barry thing, I can't remember his name. One of the scouts, Barry something, and there's maybe two more people. They bring people to the table who they think where we lack, and the player that they think we should go and get. Them man there will look at what is the best like financial decision. I swear to you, does it make sense? Bro, you know when you hear Klopp say things like, we'll spend money, but it has to make sense. We're not. Remember, because he always says we have bills to pay. We're not running at others. I know that already. That's what Klopp says. Remember that. He says on record, bro. He's basically telling you we have a lot of restrictions. Restrictions.
Isn't he also saying he's happy though, Matt, because he signed a new deal?
Bro, I'm telling you from now, and I could be wrong here. When there was talk of Mbappe wanting to leave at one point, I reckon we wanted to try and get Mbappe, or Klopp wanted him, but knew deep down we're never gonna pay this. I might as well just lock off the thing now, bro. I'm telling you for that. No one can't tell me Klopp didn't want Mbappe, bro, because he would rather want, I don't know, like Nunes instead.
No, that's fair.
Do you know what I mean? But the financial outlay's not there for him. It's not there.
But if all right, Mbappe,
he can't take risks.
No, but Mbappe is more than just a risk. Let's be honest.
No. What I'm saying is, players over the years, in his mind, not for ours, he might have gone, that's a bit of a risk. If that don't work, I'm kind of stuck with that person for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
Jack Grealish was bought for 100 mil. Bro, we both know this, yeah? If Jack Grealish don't do well, Man City will sell him. Bro, they
can write it off. They can.
They'll write it off. They'll write it off. Imagine that they can write it off.
That's true.
We can't.
I have no rebuttal to that.
We can't do that. That's the difference between the two teams.
But what I will say, Matt, is Klopp has final say on transfers.
He does.
He signed a new deal, which when he signed a new deal, we were told he has power now to do what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's turning around and saying, I'm not going to block the path for Harvey, Carvalho, and Jones.
I hear that.
Don't shut the door. And then when you've got his assistant manager, who everyone has seen how much he trusts, saying that Curtis Jones is as talented and as good as Pedri.
That's what came out of his mouth, not Klopp's though.
I know, but bro,
and I'm glad Klopp don't talk reckless like that.
I mean, he says, "What other midfielder could we go in and get that improves us?" That is reckless, man.
Do you know one thing I will say? Even though he said that stuff, I think he was being sarcastically stupid, but being.
Bro, have you seen the video though? Shout out to the Anfield Rap. Have you?
Yeah, I've seen the video,
bro.
Do you want to know something? He was Am I lying to you, Cal? He was speaking like he was angry, like he was sick and tired of answering that question about midfielders, and he just decided to just be like, in his brain, he's like, I'm not getting a freaking midfielder. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to go and find the perfect? The more I think about it, the more I'm like, he got told there's no money there. There's no funds, bro.
It doesn't have to be though. Mateus Nunes improves our midfield. If Mateus Nunes came in tomorrow,
he does improve the midfield.
He's our third best midfielder.
But that's where I say. But remember when I said to you, that's where I will give some blame on Klopp, because in his brain he's thinking Mateus Nunes is not going. In his mind, this is just Klopp, by the way. Klopp's thinking Mateus Nunes is not going to be a dead cert star. He's not going to be a dead cert upset other midfielders. It's more of a calculated gamble, but as fans, we think it's a good calculated gamble that is going to improve us. In Klopp's mind, he's thinking, I've got winners on my hand. Like, I've got players that have won things, and the scouting team are telling me to go and buy this player who maybe he's not fully convinced on, but us fans think, yeah, do you know what? We can do more. Because I'm going to be honest, bro. Let me tell you this as well. Let me ask you a question. Bellingham is not even a dead cert. We know that for sure. I think he's got real good to
close to being a dead cert.
But let's just say Klopp, in his mind, thought I have a better chance of getting Bellingham. So I know my budget is so tight. I might have to go and wait a bit, because if I go and get Mateus Nunes, that means I won't be able to get Bellingham next summer unless there was an exceptional circumstance. Because whenever he talks about taking risks, yeah, that says to me that he's always got to play kind of safe, bro. Like he's got to play within. Basically, he's got to play within the parameters, and he hasn't got a lot of like wiggle room. Bro, in any line of work, you need a little bit of wiggle room. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And that's why I feel like the problem.
But we all knew Bellingham weren't moving this summer anyway, regardless.
No, agreed. I agree. Bro, Klopp ain't blameless. I just think there's more blame, way more blame, in my opinion, on the owners.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, bro, he's Liverpool manager, and you man just leave a man hanging out to dry and say
I don't think it's night and day anymore. I don't think it's night and day anymore, Matt. And I think that's my biggest. That's the biggest issue for me. It's not night and day. Like before, for me, it was night and day, but it's not anymore.
Let me ask you this, yeah. Let me ask you this question. Let's say Jurgen Klopp wanted to, like he said it on record, he wanted to get Tchouaméni, yeah, without saying the name. He was like, the person chose to go somewhere else, yeah. We know that was Tchouaméni, yeah. He knows now he's not going to go for another midfielder unless he wants to get in his brain a close to world-class person who he wants to get. Whether he thinks that's better than him, that's what he thinks, yeah. He now knows the players at his disposal. He has to big them up. He has to. That's his job.
I don't expect
to know something. I'm gonna be honest. Klopp knows deep down who's gonna make it and who's not gonna make it. He already knows that, but he's gonna give you the best chance. And not only that, he's doubling down because he's like, "You're what I have at the start of the season. I need you to perform. So I'm gonna tell you, you are one of the best. You are the best." And sometimes that's a wrong thing to do because to us fans, we look at that and go, "Now Klopp's just lost marbles, fam. What's he talking about? Man's talking about flipping Tyler Morton. Why would you even name drop him?" But again, I do feel like Klopp gets drawn out a bit at times. There's frustrations there. So even though he signed a new deal, there's frustrations I can sense with him. Even when they talk to him about, like when he loses and they'll say things like, "Well, Jurgen, you can't really turn this around. You're finding it really hard. You've changed formation. When our players going to..." But he hates even talking about when players are going to be back. It's like he's really rattled at, like, I don't know, like at a situation that, I don't know, we don't have full information on. I could be wrong because I'm speculating. But there's some things I look at and go, Klopp don't even really seem as happy. I'm wondering whether he was told this summer, we can't really do much. But again, because we're next summer FC, yeah, maybe we can do a bit more. Because you spent all your money on Núñez, we can't really give you an alternative to Tchouaméni. Do you know what I mean? You can get a Núñez, but just know that's coming out of the next summer's budget. I don't know the restrictions in it. But all I know is that, like you said, Cal, since 18-19, that was our best summer. And since then, we have never done enough for Jurgen Klopp. They have not provided him with enough, bro. They just haven't.
Here's the thing. I agree, Matt. I do agree.
He's not blameless, though. I will say that.
No,
he's not blameless. Though.
And again, this is why it's difficult. Because even though I completely agree with you, because of how he's acting at the moment, how he's been acting over the past couple of months,
yeah,
I'm having to ask myself, has he been happy with what he's got and he just didn't want to do anything? Because even the season where he didn't sign a centre-back, like we're seeing Billy the Kid getting bigged up. We're seeing him saying Flacco can play there. Like, I don't want to be hearing that from my manager. And I get it. But to say, like, look, I don't expect him to come out and thrash
lack
the
of
players.
funds, though. I feel
I hear that.
Funds.
I don't want to see him come out and thrash the players. He doesn't have to do that. He shouldn't be doing that.
Agree.
But at the same time, Matt, if I've got a car that's breaking down and you say, "How's the car?" I'm gonna go, "It's getting me from A to B." I'm not gonna come to you and go, "The car, yeah, brother, I went on the motorway and I was doing 100 and bro, I can't think of a better car I can get." You'd be like, "Okay, you're kind of doing the most there." Just say
the car hasn't got feelings. The players do. They're human.
But he speaks to the players on a day-to-day basis. Does he need to go above and beyond?
Well, like I said before,
especially when his actions don't reflect it.
I hear you.
He speaks glowingly about Ox and Naby in public.
Oh, I know.
But look at the treatment they get.
Well, funny you say that.
So isn't that even worse, though, bro?
Well, I look at Rafa Benitez. Rafa Benitez is a bit like that. Slightly,
Rafa's no comparison. Rafa's too ruthless, bro.
Bro, Rafa was cold. Like, I'm talking Steven Gerrard man of the match, and Rafa walked past him and be like, "Are you?"
Yeah. No, Rafa's the wrong way, bro.
Like, But what I'm trying to say is, some managers have a weird way of showing their appreciation for players, and what they'll do is they'll kind of big them up and your players thinking, right, he still believes in me, but they're thinking, does he really still believe me? But he's kind of giving you an olive branch, but it's up to you whether you want to take it. Bro, I'm telling you from now, I'm going to say this, and this is what I'm going to say as my final thing on this whole subject, yeah? Jurgen Klopp has made mistakes tactically, player selection, and also sentimental worth for certain players and mistrusting players. However, as much as I just said a lot there, the buck falls with the owners.
Yeah,
because even though Klopp has made his mistakes, bruh, give the guy something to work with, and then he might not have to do some of the things we mentioned. And if he does still do them, then we know what the real issue is. But what's so mad is that we've won the Premier League and the Champions League without necessarily having the best squad in Europe. Klopp has done that. Now it's time for FSG to give Klopp something that he deserves, and that's the right amount of funding for winning trophies for Liverpool are making us relevant again to the point where now everyone, like, we are everyone's rival for everything, for absolutely everything, like everything. Best captain's Henderson, someone will compare him. Best right back is Trent, someone will compare him. Salah's the best player in the world, someone will compare him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Jota's the best, I don't know, Jota's the best player to come off the bench and score 2 goals. He's the best at that. Someone will compare him and say someone else. Like, we have we got the best left back. Someone else will say this and that. Bro, it's a testament to Klopp that we have some of the best players in the world. A lot of them are off form and a lot of them sticking up the joint. FSG now to be like, do you know what? We got to do this cycle again. We have to back him. We have to back him. Give him another cycle, innit? And then Klopp's probably going to go. Because we can't allow man to go out like this, bro. This
Not
is
like
horrible.
this. No, not like this.
Imagine
Not
that.
like
Man just fizzling out, bro. Nothing left. Players just getting injured and no new blood coming in. And if a new manager comes in and they go and give him money, I'll be sick.
So let me ask you then, Matt, because talks came out today that FSG aren't going anywhere. They're not looking to part ways with Liverpool.
Gosh.
Again, was not surprised by the news. I can't answer this question because I think I'm too far gone. So this may be a question for yourself, Matt, and people in the comments. What can FSG do between now and the end of the summer to turn people like me over to the other side and go, nah, FSG, they're real owners. They're here to win trophies rather than just here to big up their portfolio. What can be done?
Sell.
Let's say they can't sell. They won't. Not that they can't. Let's say they won't.
Nothing will
What can they
change.
do?
Do you know nothing will change?
But I'm asking, what can they do to convince you? If you could wave a magical brush and I'm not going to say FSG changed and start spending $1 billion every summer. Do
you know what? Do you know why? This is going to sound harsh on them. Do you know why I've kind of like categorically given up? Let's say next summer they spend 150 mil net spend. I know that means for the next 5 years we ain't spending no money. Bro, a leopard don't change their spots, bro. They will always be that club. They're that club that likes to look good. Things are running good. Good merchandise. Great portfolio. Self-sufficient, which is a good thing, by the way. But, bro, they're happy doing that. They're happy. They're in a financially healthy situation. If they sell Liverpool Football Club, they'll probably get close to 3 to 4 billion. That's what they've done with the club. However, for us fans, bro, we don't care about what other team you're going to buy. Bro, do you know how much of a madness that when I think about all the promises FSG have, bro, that man made us say or made us believe that Nike was the way forward because remember, we're going to be getting LeBron James and Drake and all the big at LeBron. All LeBron
Serena
has
Williams.
done is wear a couple training shirts and one little t-shirt to an interview. Like that's it.
Also said that we wouldn't have a problem with
distribution.
We
but
know
the away but the away kit, which I still can't get hold of now. Anyone, please let me and Cal and Drift know if you can get that cream kit from last season. If you can, please let us know. We're after that kit, but for the collection. But yeah, bro, they can't change nothing. And then that sounds really harsh because you're basically saying it doesn't matter what they do. But I'm kind of at the end of it because I know what they are, Cal. They're not going to change. They're never going to change. That's who they are. You know, we just know how someone is.
Yeah.
Milan Barros, I'll give you a prime example. I don't even know why I'm using him to kind of. Milan Barros was always that striker that had his head down when he was running. He was never going to. That's just him, innit? That's just him. Yeah. That's how he plays football. Do you know what I mean? You just have your way about playing football, like or doing things. You are stuck in your ways. Sometimes you can't change those ways. It's too late. I don't even know why I use Barros, but it just came to my brain. I remember people used to say like, "Oh, Barros, like head down football." And as much as I rated Barros, I used to be like, "Yeah, kind of is like that," but I still rate him. He's one of them players when he's on the ball, he's just not really looking up. He's not looking around what's near him. That's FSG, bro. They're just gonna stay like that. They're never gonna change.
Yeah.
So
let's say, for example, Matt, am I right in saying you think we need 4 or 5 players for this squad?
I would say we need 5, but I guess we'd have to accept 4. I think if you get 2 centre mids, a winger to cover Salah, and maybe like an attacking mid. So I'm thinking, all right, so we'll switch up actually. Go box to box, a player that can play CDM and box, and a player that can play an 8 and 10. I know that's some serious criteria there. I'm trying to cover all bases, but I think that's what we actually need. We need fresh blood. Remember when I said, I think it was last season, rip out the midfield other than Thiago. And if Flacco still got it, then you keep him. Some of the others like Henderson and whatever, maybe they can be because big Henderson, they stay, but they maybe like it'll be more manage the minutes, like what they're doing now. And what's so funny is we're having to manage his minutes. And do you know why? There's no one else to kind of cover him. Bruv, you know Henderson apparently didn't train today, reportedly, I think.
I'm not surprised. Remember, he's been rushed back. He was rushed back.
Remember, everyone's numbers are probably higher than they should be because everyone's always injured. So when Naby's injured and Ox injured, it means Henderson always has to play. And Thiago. So then man can't really get rest. If Fabinho gets injured, Henderson always has to play. It's kind of mad, bro. We need 3 midfielders, bro, to make the clock work again. 3 midfielders.
Let's say we got all of what. Let's say we got what you want. I personally believe we need 2 centre midfielders, 2 wingers, minimum, absolute minimum. By the end of the season, we may even be looking at centre back as well, but that's another conversation for another day. Let's say between now and the end of summer, we get 4 players. Would that turn you around with FSG?
No, I keep saying it, and I know it sounds harsh. I will be happy for that one.
The damage is done now.
Yeah, because it's already done, innit? Because it's like I'll be happy, bro, and I'll be living in the moment, and I'll probably be on stream really gassed, and I should be rightly so, because I've had to see my team suffer when we're not getting the right, the right players in and right investment. But they're gonna go back to being how they are, bro. Bro, you know what's so mad? After 18, 19...
The answer, Gary, is absolutely not. I'm probably the most FSG one out of me, Matt, and Drifty.
That's crazy.
Because
I'm gonna be honest, this is gonna sound so wild, yeah. I'll tell you lot into something now. Let's say Liverpool sign Bellingham. Mbappe, and say Enzo Fernandez. I'm sure some people would lose their head, and rightly so. Oh my God, we're back. FSG, they're the greatest. I can tell you lot from now. If we sign those 3 players, just know everything's getting written off for the next 5-6 years. No, nothing. Just know the budget is finished. Finished. Won't be able to do more than that. That'll be it. 18-19 was the best example of that. Man are having to put in payment plans all the time to buy players now. And I know people do it anyway, it's part of football and whatever. But ours is so heavily out there. Like if there's a release clause or something, we're already fretting, thinking, can we try and renegotiate that? Obviously, we had to do it with Kanate. We had to just pay the release clause, but we're already fretting. Can we afford the 36 mil? Can we do this? Will RB take a payment plan? Bro, we always got to be thinking, bro, Jota and Thiago, to be fair, you can call it smart business because it kind of is. But we can't. Some clubs aren't going to accept that. Some clubs just want the fee, innit? We ain't got time for the small talk. Man's going to fly all the way over to Portugal and start saying, yeah, man will give you 2 million a year still over 70 years. Can't be doing them things there, bro. So, yeah.
Why? I don't know. All right, we've spoken about FSG.
Yeah, man.
Rumors came out today. Some slightly conflicting. Some are saying that Liverpool want 2 midfielders in January. Some are saying they want 2 between now and the end of next summer. This is for everyone in the chat and yourself, Matt, and I'll answer the question as well. Let's say it's 2 midfielders. Which 2 midfielders would you realistically like to see come in between now and the end of next summer? Realistically.
Is Bellingham still realistic in your opinion? Would you say still realistic?
In my personal opinion, no, and I don't think he ever has been.
Oh gosh.
In my personal opinion.
All right. I'll say a realistic one. From what I've heard, and I think there might be something in it because of a clause, potential clause. Bruno Gomes from Newcastle. Apparently there's a clause. That's why Newcastle are apparently trying to get him to sign a new deal. That's the. But if there's no clause, then obviously no chance because we'll just get outbid in it. We'll just get outbid and it's done in it. Another one will be someone like, if we're going to be realistic, this is the
that
thing.
A team we really want to pee off though in our state, Matt? Like,
not really. But you said realistic.
No, but Matt, let's say for example, I don't know, we were single, and I don't know, Francis Ngannou's missus recently became single. Is that a woman we should really pursue? Do we really want to do that?
Some people would still do it though.
No, they would, but they'd also be putting their jaw.
Yeah, and their life on the line. Life is on the line. Yeah, I hear that. No, listen. Like I said before, the only reason I say he would be realistic is if that clause is true, but that remains to be seen. So I'll hold out on that. Another one would be realistically. I think Ruben Neves has got, and I don't. These are the things, bro. Do you know what's so crazy? Because you're saying realistic, yeah. Do you know how I'm having to really like dumb down the midfielder, so to speak? Because my ones are just they're world class. For example. Joshua Kimmich is world class.
That's a no-no.
No, but all right, Barella. I don't even think Barella's realistic. I don't think Barella's realistic.
No, he's not. But I don't think that's because of us. I think that's because he just doesn't want to leave Inter, and Inter don't want to sell. He's almost like he's to Inter what Trent is to us almost.
See, man is saying Salcedo and that, bro. You see Salcedo,
I'm not convinced by Salcedo. I think he's good. I think he's good.
But again, like, is he? Let me ask you this, people. This is the best way for me to say it. We played some of the best football between 1819 and 1920 from a eye aspect, football on the eye, but also productivity. Think of midfielders that can get into that team. So you see, like when we had prime Fabinho's arguably the best DM in world football. When we had Gini Wijnaldum was probably one of the best multifunctional midfielders in world football at that time. Especially 1819 Genie. He was on roids, blood. Never got injured. Ball retention was on a madness and always popped up with an important goal. Then you had Henderson, who was just literally like the marathon man. He was literally, it's like he had two lungs, bro. Man just didn't stop running. Always pressuring the opponent. So you have to think about mix and blend, but I'm thinking we need midfielders that would walk straight in, not midfielders that you go, yeah, he's good, but he needs a bit of work. That's why when you say realism, we have to take it down a lot, bro. We have to.
All right. What if I told you, do you think Declan Rice is realistic?
No.
You don't?
West Ham will probably ask for like 80 mil.
All right. I'm trying to think of other names.
Is like, see how you said Declan Rice? That should be realistic, though, isn't it?
It should be.
Do you know who that's realistic for? Man City if they wanted him, Chelsea if they wanted him, Man United if they wanted him. If one of those teams wanted him, they will go and get him, and they'll pay the extraordinary price. That should be realistic for us, but that's not realistic.
I'm trying to think of other names.
What are that names?
Kone. I think Kone is realistic.
What, Caldo? Is it Caldo?
Yeah.
Is he play for
Guardio?
He plays for
or Manu Kone, people call him. Much in Gladbach.
He's good, but I ain't seen enough of him to know that he's 30. Is he 30 in your opinion?
I personally think he's 30.
Who does he remind you of, in your opinion? Like, who does he?
He reminds me of a more refined Basuma.
Okay.
Personally, I'm seeing loads of people say Enzo. Enzo's going to cost more than flipping Nunes.
I haven't seen enough of both of them. Enough of them. See, come, bro.
Tillemans.
How much did they buy? You know what? I don't want to tell them. You know.
Man said, you know what?
Nah, bro. Nah. You know, the only way Tillemans can work, in my opinion, we'll have to go back to.
He plays in the 2. He plays in the pivot.
Did you see him the other night?
No, I did hear about his goal though.
His goal was sick, but this is the thing: Tillemans can deceive you. In my opinion, He's like literally the one of the ultimate footballers because, bro, technically Tielemans is a menace, bro. He's in fact he's sick. But you see, off the ball, Cal, there's more than just being on the ball. Do you know who Tielemans would suit, so to speak, a bit more so is Man City because they keep the ball. And even though they do press like mad, like people forget Man City press, because they're just better, I think, tactically, they don't do as much chasing. Or they just got more legs around him, so to speak. Pause. Not like that. So,
all right.
Someone said Frankie De Jong. Is he realistic?
I don't know.
But I think he is realistic, but kind of not at the same time. If he wants to leave Barca, I think we got a chance. But let's say, for example, someone else like Man City won him, then it's game over. Because you know, I can see something like Gundogan wanting to leave, and then they just go and get Frankie. Like, I don't know. It's upsetting.
Yeah. In an ideal world, it'd be Kone and Bellingham, innit?
So what's his name? Let me go and check him out. What's his name?
Claudio Kome. So K-O-U.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Found it. Let me just see what he's about. Let me just quickly see. Like.
What about Maddison, Matt? He'd have to play in the 10 though.
He'd have to play 10. Or the most advanced midfielder to the point where he's practically playing 10 in the 3-man midfield. I think he can't play a 2. And if he's going to play in the 2, if he can't play in 2. If he's a 4-2-3-1, he's 10. If it's 4-3-3, has to be the most advanced, and you need runners around him. So the DM and the person playing next to him is also a guy that's athletic to get the best out of Maddison. Because you've got to allow Maddison to do what he needs to do, innit?
Fair dues.
But in injuries, though, would you say he's a little bit injury prone, Maddison?
He has his moments. Question is, Matt, do you think we'll sign at least one centre midfielder in January?
Realistically, no, I don't. I don't think so.
That hurts.
Do you know why I say that? Klopp spoke about Arthur, and they said, "Do you think you're gonna cut his loan short?" Klopp's like, he's got a long injury. It's really unfortunate, but we're not cutting the loan short. His words were something like, we'll see what happens when he recovers. Basically, Bob, it was so like, I don't even know. It's almost like Klopp doesn't even really believe him, man, bro. The way
I remember when we signed him and everyone thought I was really overboard in my analysis, and it was nothing against Artur. It was just
he's clearly know
we didn't want him, because if we really wanted Artur, we'd have got him at the beginning of the window.
Yeah. And I think Liverpool knew that. Basically, again, that was a gamble. That's a gamble, Cal.
I don't even know if we can cut the loan short, Matt, because then we pay a loan fee.
Yeah, you
might
be
not
right.
be able to cut the loan short.
But bruv, it was a gamble. But why was it a gamble? Was that because Jurgen Klopp said he wanted him, or was that FSG saying, "Well, there's no peas out here, so you better go and find something"?
Klopp did come out and say he made a mistake and that we are looking for a midfielder now.
He did.
I wish he did that 2 weeks earlier. We would have had more.
He did. No, you're right. Actually, he did say that. So I don't know, bruv. I don't know. Maybe he was the one that.
Jamrock's offering you a wager. Jamrock's pretty confident we're going to get a midfielder in January.
I mean, I don't know about wager, Jamrock. I'm just not as confident, bro. I don't know. All right. I'm trying to think realistically. If we was to get a midfielder, and Klopp's been waiting reportedly for Bellingham, do you know what? It might make sense. Because the more, I don't know if you've heard about it, Cal, the more and more I've read, Bellingham's going Real Madrid. And they might think, like, you know what, well, let's just go and find someone. So maybe they're on the lookout and they'll get one. Just don't expect to get one in the summer or one of high quality.
So let me ask you a question then. If we have done what I think we've done and tried to wait for Bellingham, is that arguably the biggest gamble and biggest mistake we've made in the club's recent history?
Yeah, because Liverpool Football Club PR was acting like there's such a good chance we're going to get him, so we're not going to do anything. We're just going to wait. Wait for what? For someone else to take him. Do you know it's realistic? I just thought it came to my brain. In fact, he's not realistic because they'll say 100 mil. Eze. I want Eze, bro. Palace will say 100 mil, though. So it's not realistic.
We put ourselves in a really bad negotiating spot now.
Yeah,
We
because
have.
look
'Cause
at
everyone,
what we did.
everyone in the world knows we need centre midfielders now.
Yep, everyone is going to overcharge us, bruv. Benfica admitted that Liverpool knew they were overpaying for Nunes. Did you hear what the president said?
Yeah, I know.
The man said the man is worth a certain amount. Liverpool wanted to pay over that, so there was nothing we could really do. We didn't want to stand in the boys' way. That's what they said. That's no disrespect to Nunes, by the way. But they said basically because we offered way more than what they kind of thought they were going to get, they were just like, right, you know what? Take it. Take him. We're good.
So doesn't that not? Again, I'm just asking the questions here because I genuinely just want an answer, but I know we don't have
People
it.
saying that's fake. I don't think it was fake, people. Do you want me to try and find the quote and bring it up for you lot?
But let's say, for example, like Benfica said, this is his price. We're not settling for anything else. We didn't even hesitate. We did it. Does that not suggest that Klopp's getting who he wants? Because shall I be honest, the Calvin Ramsey signing almost felt as though he was like, "Oh, just go and get me a right back," and they just presented him with some. It's almost like you go and get me a right back, but he's not going to be a starter, so just go and get me someone. Because it seems like he doesn't even know who he is.
Bro, I'm gonna be honest. Like I said before,
the boys are doing a bit of a mad one at the moment.
No. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. If you need to shoot for 1 second, it's cool.
No, you're cool.
All I was gonna say is this year. I don't know what to think anymore. I mean, I do, but I don't. I don't feel confident that we're gonna get a midfielder, but we might. The better than thing was a kind of a farce. It was a joke. Misplaced trust in some of the players. I think that's Klopp. That is Klopp's fault, obviously. But the financial backing is not his fault. The right back thing with Calvin Ramsey does feel like the committee said, "Here's a right back. We got this amount of money. He fits the profile. He's young. We can develop him." And Klopp's gone, "Okay, cool. If you guys think it's good, we'll develop him. Cool. I don't know, man. There's a lot of developing that goes on at Liverpool, and it's not a bad thing, but it can't always be developed FC. That's what it seems like we feel like. Because even when Klopp says it, like as well, it's a bit like, bro, like what? Like we're not develop FC, bro. Like when you won the Champions League and the Prem, you won with established players. You kind of did develop them at the same time, but they had a lot more experience though than Calvin Ramsey, though.
Yeah,
you get what I'm trying to say? A lot more experience.
Way more.
Them man was certified. When we won the Prem, them man were basically like world-class players, bro.
Yeah. So even last season, you could argue they were. Well, I wouldn't even say you could argue they were world-class. Absolutely world-class last season. But you can be world-class and you don't get the rest you need. You don't get the rotation. You don't get the reinforcements. We're in this situation now.
We're in a bad situation. I see the comments. Go on.
What do you think of people like Tony Cascarino and Jason McAteer and even James Pearce now speaking out about like the owners and things like that? And
yeah, you know what?
And again, I don't even want to dig anyone out. Like
yeah.
When we were saying stuff like this way back, we got ridiculed by large sections of the fan base.
Yeah, it's almost like it had to happen.
The same people who have kind of ridiculed us, not us personally, but the things that we've said, are now saying the same things. And again, I say this all the time, even when we're on stream. When me, you, and Drift say something, if we get it right, no one says anything. But when we get it wrong, everyone's clicked to jump on our backs. It's just the nature of the world. But surely, as high established journalists, there should be some accountability there from them, and there should be some sort of, you know what, to some of you fans,
we were wrong. We saw it wrong.
We were wrong. And like, we apologize for dragging you lot through the mud. Like,
yeah, do you know what? I'm glad you said that. Listen, I'm not having a go at the journalists that are now sort of changing how they feel about the situation. But what I was a little bit disappointed with some of them is that some of them made it out like it wasn't okay to question what was happening. And if you did, it's like you're being spoiled. Look what's happened last season. Look what this Liverpool's done. Look what Klopp's done. We're like, yeah, we get it. We're not Man City, but you know, it's almost like stop throwing your toy at the pram, so to speak.
Well, bruv, someone the
And
other
I
day
was-
in the comments said I was acting like a 14-year-old glory hunter, and I said what? Because I want us to win against Leeds.
Yeah. And when like start of the season, I was thinking like, what? Like, hold on a minute. So we can't. So we're not allowed to question if we think things are wrong, and there's a good reason as to why we question it. And now look what's happened now. Everything's gone mad, and now certain journalists are now doing the whole. Well, you can clearly see there wasn't enough backing. This is what happens, and not enough. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute.
Where were you 2 years ago?
Where was you exactly from 2 years ago? You weren't saying nothing. You weren't saying nothing, and now you're talking. So yeah, I'm not gonna say the next. I don't want to disrespect no one. I'm not gonna throw no one under the bus and things like that. But the people then probably know where they are already. You know what I mean? And it's not even it's not a me versus them or me versus whatever. It's just that's why I will say to anybody, whether you're a journalist, whether you're a fan of the club, you're a football fan, it's okay to have an opinion. If you feel like something is validated, it's okay to say it, even if you think it's an unpopular opinion. It's actually okay. You don't have to always go along with what everyone says because it's the most fashionable thing to say. That's why I love football, bro. It's about having opinions, isn't it? Everyone have your own opinion on the situation. You're allowed to. Everyone in the chat, I respect each and every one of you. Sometimes I might go back and forth with you, but I will never disrespect you. I might get a little bit annoyed or a bit heated, but I will never disrespect you. You know why? Because I respect your lots of opinions, all of you, even if I disagree with you. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you're allowed to have your opinion.
Yeah, we're only disrespectful if we disrespect.
If it's disrespectful, big up everyone in the chat as well. Big up everyone. Love to you all, man. Trust me. Monday night show, you know what it's about.
Shout out these supers, Matt. Dinesh says, evening everyone. Do you think we should have kept Divock Origi? We should have given Klopp the chance if we should give Klopp a chance if we buy 3 midfielders, we are ready to go again. Should we have kept Origi?
Do you know what? The only way we should have kept Origi is if Klopp was willing to use him like Nunes.
So no, then, because he never was.
No. Yeah.
Yes, and by the way, yes, I'd love Klopp to be given 3 new midfielders of quality, bro. It'd be a dream come true. Beretta 93 says, can't wait for Jurgen Klopp to phase new midfielders in by late April. Yeah, it depends on whether we get any or not. Pimping the Stress, aka Pop, says, evening, gotta say that the G in the front of the fan video setting the new beer standards, aka that's Kojo. Big up Kojo.
Big up Kojo.
Made Mac look like an adolescent. Sorry, Cal, there are levels to this. I know, bro. I know. Kojo moving like he's got a beard unit still.
Big up Kojo. The beard
is always
serious, bro.
Brilliant
Love us always, G. Trust me.
Mr. Darcy Drifty says 100 mil on Frankie de Jong / Kone or 100 mil on Jude. This is another scenario as well. What would you do here, Matt?
I'm going Frankie and Kone.
So am I.
I ain't even seen Kone. Do you know why though? I think Frankie de Jong is like that kind of genie player, like that ball rotation guy. Keep things ticking over, but he's athletic enough as well, though. Don't get twisted. De Jong's athletic. And Kone is the one you know more than me, but I'm going to say, I'm going to trust your judgment and think if he's good enough, okay, cool. 100 mil on Jude, yeah?
Is a
even though Jude is sick, but was it what? That's one player. Was it like, and again, there has to be some context. It can't just be Jude, but the person's giving us a choice, so yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Kilo, aka Chris Angel, says there are 2 issues factored. Equally, both FSG and Klopp's fault. Loyalty and lack of investment. This decline is rooted from those 2 factors. True as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Darcy Drift says Matt looks like a young coach Greg Adam YouTuber.
I don't even know who that is.
No idea. I'd be willing to look that up though.
Greg Adam. Let me see. People, is that a compliment or is that a diss? I don't even know.
We'll soon find out, bro. Planner Boy TX says Klopp contradicts a lot and injury patterns. 1 season off, 1 season on. That's not FSG. Hansi Flick, Zidane. There are other managers. I'll be honest, Zidane don't work under this system, and I don't think Hansi Flick either does.
No.
But yes, there is a lot of contradictions, and it seems like it's 1 on, 1 off at the moment as well.
Yeah.
Chris says it sounds like a drive out there. Cal, you good, brother? I don't even know what's going on out there.
BC says, what's happening right now should be a learning curve for FSG and Klopp. If this continues, Klopp will be the fall guy. What manager can work under FSG? Any manager can work under FSGs. They won't bring us success, though. Code Command says, Virgil Van. I'm not going to use that one, Code Command. Not spoken about enough. I think we've spoken about Virgil quite a lot, to be honest, personally, and rightly so. Dinesh says, Adam Lallana was not replaced. I mean, we were right without Lallana still. I love Lallana, but we were right without him. Jamrock says, Edwards was too ruthless. Jurgen wasn't ruthless enough. Possibly. I agree with that, actually. Silver Spring says, in the last 5 summers, we have spent more than 100 million only once. On the other hand, Arsenal 3 times, Chelsea 4 times, Man City 4 times, Spurs 3 times, Man United 3 times.
Grief. That can't be right. That's in Spurs. They never have money.
Above they spend, they outspend us. The only caveat to that is we didn't necessarily need to spend 100 mil plus every summer, but it should have been more than once.
But it should have been more, but that's still kind of telling, though.
No, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Mr. Dowsay Drift says 2021 Jones was our best midfielder, no cap. He definitely weren't, bro.
No, he weren't, bro.
Ash says Klopp said he would love to have taken more risk, but it isn't his money. Do you think he meant spend big or take more risks like Robbo, Matip, Shaqiri type signings, low fee, but player isn't guaranteed success?
I think he's talking financial. Personally, like more money, personally.
Hate says there shouldn't be any doubt discussion on FSG spending. They don't spend enough. Where Jurgen Klopp is lost, in my opinion, is that I believe he genuinely rather persist with Naby and Ox rather than buy cheap alternatives such as Mateus Nunes. Completely agree with that.
Yes and no, because they don't. I say they don't. Even when they're fit, they don't play. Do you still say, do you want me to take over for a bit? Do you want me to
give me 1 sec. Sorry.
I'll finish off. That's cool, bro. Joe Cripps says, is this ground capacity extension affecting our transfer funds? I just can't get my head around why we haven't strengthened from a position of strength. I fully agree, bro. That's a good one to say, but I don't think so, because the funds are separate. Because it's like saying, like, we got obviously funds for like transfers, funds for funds from different areas of the club. I wouldn't say that the two are aligned. Personally, I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
They better not be aligned.
Yeah, because I remember, because it's like the money that the club earns and gets. Like, FSG have always kind of been open about like any money that we receive, like, from winning trophies and whatever. That goes kind of back to the playing staff, as they would say. That's what they always say. But then I could be wrong, though. I don't know.
Rude Boy LFC says Virgil van Dijk is the epitome of everything that has gone wrong with Liverpool this season. I'm sorry, but this man is lazy, too slow to react, lacks urgency, and won't even throw a tackle. I hate to say it, but he needs to be dropped. Oh, he does, but my question is, who do we drop him for?
Yeah, because no one's...
I agree, he should be dropped. His form stinks.
Yeah.
Who is it, bro? And that's part of the problem.
And Gomez is stinking out the joint as well.
Stinking out the place. James says, having owners like ours compared to City means we've already lost before it's even begun. Not a single manager in football history would have been able to sustainably compete, let alone be superior. I don't agree that we've lost before we've won. It does definitely make it stupidly hard. But I think if we had done what we were meant to do, if we strengthened from a position of being on top, I don't think we're having this conversation.
Yeah, for real.
Silver Spring, big up Silver Spring. I ain't seen you in ages. Callum, what you're saying is Klopp would rather sabotage his own system out of loyalty than sign anyone to play his best system. I wouldn't say he's sabotaging. I just think he's being too stubborn in his approach to formations up until recently. I wouldn't say Klopp's not someone to sabotage.
No.
James said it for time that Klopp has done with this club. What Klopp has done with this club is a miracle. The only reason it isn't viewed that way is because of the size of the club.
the perceived size of the club.
Just quickly, Cal, before you read that one, so I'm gonna bring
Big
up Monts. Just quickly, he goes, big up Monts and a big six bunch. So he says, my family, it will get worse before it will get better. Strap in, man, them flipping out, bro.
You might be right.
Bro, I hope he's wrong. Bro.
I hope he's wrong. Bro. He might
but
be
the
right.
way our things are, I can't even say you're chatting Monts because you're not, brother.
You might be spot on, which is scary. Ash says, you boys seen the Mo Chatra stuff today and Swiss Ramble? The maths ain't mathing. The January/summer window needs to be the back pay funds to Jurgen Klopp. I know I haven't.
I haven't seen it, you know. But I'm gonna look for it tonight. I'm gonna read it tonight, though. I think before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Still.
Should we have a look for it now, Matt?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah. Do you want me to have a look and you do the supers or?
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, go on. James says, look at the table now. I see 6 of the 8 teams above us that have constantly spent more than us. It's where the core of the problem lies. Simple. I kind of agree with that as well. When you spend the amount, more times than not, it does work. Obviously, you have to take things into consideration. It doesn't at times. For example, Man United took a bit of time, whatever. But when you spend more money, eventually over time, you will get it right because quality normally prevails. Jordan Mann says, what do you think about the star players in the team? Think of the lack of transfers. Do you think they'll raise their opinion to Klopp? I don't know. I think some of the players probably have raised their opinions to Klopp. And I think, because I've noticed more times than not, especially this season, the players are going back and forth with Klopp a lot more on the pitch. There's even, again, apparently on the weekend, Klopp is having to go for Fabinho again, apparently.
Yeah.
And apparently Fabinho kind of dismissed him, so to speak, to say, like, what am I supposed to do kind of thing. And then apparently Klopp got more angry. So there's a lot of that going on, and that says he's not happy with what he's seeing. And it just makes you think, what does Klopp really think? Is he looking at his team going, oh my gosh, like I've made a huge mistake. Some of the players that I used to believe in, some of them are declining in front of me. Or is he thinking, oh, this is what happens when you haven't got that investment? As much as I can trust my players, we need more. Because on another part of that interview, Cal, with that big at the Anfield rap, he also speaks about we can't have things the same. You have to make changes. Klopp said that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, big at yourself, Jordan. UC2415 says lack of upgrades. How Shaq now Elliot difference? Yeah, I know. It's mad, isn't it? It's mad.
Yeah.
Trust me. LL Lad on loan to Bayern says Maxence. I can't even pronounce Max. Kakare, Kone, De Jong, Enzo, Feli. I would take some of them players 100%.
Yeah.
Tahir says we have no money as we have an expansion coming up. Bro, the two go hand in hand, though. Innit? I know we shouldn't even be the. Morsheen says, "What if we sign no one in January?" That's what I'm saying. What if we sign no one?
Then we really, truly, as a fan base, should unite and be like, "What's going on?" But we won't.
Yeah,
we're just as to blame. I hate to say it. Us as fans, we're just as much to blame. We've accepted this for too long.
The mediocrity, innit?
We've accepted it. And then you get other fans, you get other quote unquote better fans who will call people like me, Matt, and Drifty out and say, you're being crybabies, or you spoil, or you need to remember what it's like back when it was difficult. I don't really care. Like,
facts.
If my little one didn't have food and I turned around and said to him, well, you know what? Back in the day when the war was happening, the kids didn't eat. Is that good parenting? No. It's my job to make sure my kids eat.
It's true, you know. Theo says Ruiz, Paulinho, Nunes equal 84 million plus 275k in wages. Naby Ox 240k in wages. I know, highly documented their wages, boy. Big up yourself, brother. I know. T. Michael says, would you guys have taken Onana as a wild card, 30 mil?
No,
Is he talking about Onana, the goalkeeper?
No, the Everton player, I believe.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the goalkeeper that played for freaking. I used to play for Ajax or something. No, not the Everton guy. No, not for me. Not for me personally. Not for me.
Yeah.
I think that's it for the supers count. I think. Actually, no. Hold on. Yo, what's good? Says you guys should have read Business already. Fed on Klopp and LFC. Think we need Julian Ward to show more authority. Don't want Klopp making his decisions for the club again. I haven't read it. Someone sent me a link to that on my Twitter.
All right. I tell you what, Matt. On that note, I'm going to bring up the Mo Chatra team.
Yeah. So here also says Klopp acting like Wenger as well. Mad thing.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
There's
There's,
more. Actually.
yeah.
Let me save some more. Still, there's one more.
All right, can you see this?
Yeah. Now, yeah. Now I can. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna read it. So 21-22 financials. Turnover for Man United 583, Liverpool 580 estimated. Wage bill for Man United 384, Liverpool 350 estimated. Interest and dividends payable 54 mil for Man United, 4 roughly for Liverpool. Agents fees 29 mil for Man United, 22 for Liverpool. Summer 22 net spend 204 million for Man United, 8 million for Liverpool.
Good my God.
All right, gonna go back to another tweet.
We're
So
finished.
Mo has said, "Nice to see a range of journalists acknowledge it since Saturday that has recently been a lack of investment at the club. It would have been damaging to their credibility if they continue to ignore the subjects and season should read transfer window in the first line below." Obviously, injuries have been a major issue this season, but had adequate investment continued when we were riding high by signing physically robust players who rarely or never get injured, then perhaps the injury crisis wouldn't be as acute a problem. Swiss Ramble produced a thread this morning from accounts. He showed 2021 net spend of 133 mil. Clearly isn't right. Was around 60 mil net. Where's the 70 plus million gone? Well spotted, Mo says. I have no answers to that. He and I exchanged a couple of tweets about it. 22 mil relates to agents fees. No idea about the rest. It seems very, very strange. Where the grass is 70 mil gone?
So hold on a
has
minute.
70 million pounds gone?
Bro. So hold on.
Sorry. Where has 70 mil? I'm going to have to bring up Swiss Ramble now.
Bro, not 7 mil. 70. So these men are now opening the books. That remember when we said they'll never take the money? Remember how they always said that they want to go and get own new clubs and that? All right, listen.
All right. So some Liverpool fans are understandably unhappy with their team's performance this season, identifying a lack of investment as one of the factors, particularly compared to City. This short thread will look at whether this is the case indeed. Most supporters will focus on how much the club spends in the transfer market. So let's start by looking at this. Unfortunately, the most recent accounts are only for the 2020-21 season. So we shall use transfer market for transfer details. LFC have a net spend of 60 mil in the last 2 years, as gross spend of 164 mil was partly offset by 104 mil in sales. The largest purchase was Darwin for 72 mil, Luis Diaz 42 mil, and Ibrahima Konate for 36. While they did not have any major sales, the highest being Mane for 29 mil. So, again, in that time, we've sold Wilson, Awanini, Shaqiri, Grabara, Liam Miller, Grujic, Mane, Nico, Minamino, Marco Grujic, and Ben Davies. Man U have actually had 4 mil net spends in the last 2 years as high player purchases were compensated by high sales. Sorry, Man City. Largest purchases were Grealish, Haaland, Calvin Phillips. They made sales including Sterling, Torres, Jesus, and Zinchenko. LFC's gross and net transfer spend has been steadily falling since 2019 from 223 and 163 respectively, which is partly due to adverse impact of COVID. Zero net spend in 2020 is quite striking, though did not prevent them winning the Premier League that year. Interestingly, Man City's net spend has been declining from 250 mil peak in 2018, with the club actually making 54 in net sales. Gross spend has held up pretty well, though the club has generated more from player sales, including good money from academy products. That is very true as well. Liverpool had a higher net spend than City this season for the last 2-3 years and even 5, which might come as a surprise. However, City were building from a stronger base, spending much more than Liverpool spent over a longer 10-year period, 941 mil to 564. It's a different story for gross spend. City consistently outspending Liverpool. For example, in the last 3 years, 460 mil, 53% more than Liverpool's 300. Over the last 10, it's also around 50% more, 1.6 bill compared to 1.1 bill. I can read the rest of these. I'm going to see if I can find Melissa Reddy's.
Flipping hell, bro. So basically, what he's saying, it seems like it's true, but there's obviously the 70 mil that we're not too sure where it's gone as well. And it also seems like as well, like, to be fair, I think Jamrock said this a while ago, that when Liverpool want to sell their players, is it you, Jamrock, that said this, that they don't sell them at the right time or something? I think we said that as well. I'm trying to think if you said that as well, Jamrock.
We're not ruthless in ourselves.
Yeah, we're not ruthless.
Ox
yeah,
and Naby should have been gone a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's because Jamrock talked about a sentimental thing from before. So what's Melissa really saying? Because she very rarely tweets, you know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest.
Let me read that now for you, bro. All right. Much of what sparked Liverpool's success, trust in the core group, surgical strategy, loyalty, using sentiment and emotion, is now part of the problem, as they didn't pivot fast well enough from building to catch up to supplementing smartly, being flexible and ruthless stay at the top. It's not that the players have suddenly become bad or Klopp has run out of ideas, but they have gone again and again and again amidst a range of suboptimal decisions.
Yeah.
Some contract renewals not addressing glaring weaknesses, being too rigid, not cutting ties soon, and complacency. Seeing some land this purely on FSG/recruitment team painting Klopp as some hopeless figure without power. He'd be the first to ridicule that characterization. Doesn't control the budgets, but heavily involved in transfer plans and decisions. Collaborative responsibility for Liverpool's issues. Heaps to admire about Arsenal, which circles back to them sticking to the swearing by a process even when it was enormously challenging. Financial hits, heavy criticism, bad form. They've changed the culture, have a clear identity and purpose, fixed squad age profile, are bold. Those with good memory stretching back to Mikel Arteta's earlier reign. I am not a scoreline journalist. So basically saying Klopp's in bed with the others.
Yeah, she she's basically trying to say you can't just say FSG. You gotta say Klopp's there as well because he's heavily involved.
Yeah.
The thing is, yeah, you see Melissa Reddy. Big up Melissa Reddy, by the way. One thing I will say, and this is not me directing it to her. This is just me to what she said. We kind of know that Klopp has made mistakes, 100%, like in terms of like cutting ties with certain players and whatnot. But I still feel like the main issue, and what's so mad is, and I'm not saying this is, I'm just saying to any journalist, because they don't want to get drawn out, they keep saying the owners, use the name, FSG. But some of them have been so like strategic in how they're saying it. Like they're almost saying it like, oh, this is what's happened now. But when us fans were saying it 2 years ago that we can see it, we got shut down. That's the bit I don't like. And I'm not saying that's about Melissa Reddy, by the way. Big up yourself, Melissa. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying some journalists haven't given some of us fans the time of the day if we have a different opinion or if we can see something before. But remember, Cal, if you see something before and you might not be as creditable, so to speak, as somebody else, you get laughed off. You get ridiculed for it. Like if I said 2 years ago, bro, you know what? That transfer committee needs to just get like shut down like it's rubbish. And then here we are now. People go, oh, yeah. Someone will say it now and they'll be like, yeah, it's true, you know. But people forget that I said it 2 years ago. It's mad. Like, it's crazy. I just think, and again, this is to every journalist as well. Bigger because I'm friends with some of the journalists and some of the other journalists I haven't even met. I just want to say, listen, I respect every single one of body's opinion. And that's what I say football is about opinions. And sometimes it's not always about factual. But I say to us fans and I also say to the journalists, it's okay to have an opinion, even if it's an unpopular one. It's actually okay. And it just goes to show. Because some journalists didn't think some of the things that us fans were saying was creditable. And look what's happening now. Some are actually having to backtrack.
Call me cynical, Matt, but it just feels like they're doing this for clicks. It feels
And
like it's
having to
just being
backtrack.
done for clicks.
But they're having to backtrack to cover their base.
Yeah, that's what I'm
have
saying.
to.
It's being done for clicks. They know they
Mm.
can't come out and turn around and be like, yeah, FSG is still doing great stuff. Like, when was the last time you heard in a press conference? And look, this is why I know we will only get to a certain point when it comes to access to the club. I've settled on that. I get it. I understand.
Yeah,
it.
of course.
Why does no one ask the tough questions in press conference? When Klopp said we went in for a midfielder, but we couldn't get them, why did no one put their hand up and go, was that midfielder sure many? And if that's the case, will you be going for anyone else? Like, is that not what a journalist's job is?
No, what they also should have said was, Jurgen, it seems highly reported that Many was your target. You wasn't able to get him. He's chosen somewhere else. Is there still money available for you to go and get a top quality midfielder in this window? Or is it a case of Liverpool Football Club now have to really weigh up the pros and cons because you might have to spend money elsewhere? These are some of the questions that you want to ask, bro. The tough questions.
This is
Like,
what
get to
journalists
the
are meant
root
to
of it.
do, though.
But you know what? No one wants to listen. No one wants to spoil their privilege, bro. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Some people will never do that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, and I can't speak for others. I'm just saying I know some people won't do that.
All right, let's read up these supers. Mr. Darcy Drift says Thiago missed half the season. Fab played centre back. Hendo played centre back. 2020-21. Jones still wasn't our best midfielder. It's still Flacco and Thiago, even though Jones may have played a few more games in centre midfield. It was still Flacco and Thiago. Remember when I said, where is the money 2 years ago? I do actually, yeah.
I actually remember that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we read that one, I think.
Says, oh yeah, we did. Sorry.
Yeah. That's my fault. I left that one on there.
To hear saying Klopp acting like Wenger. I mean, time will tell, man. Time will tell. Oh, this hasn't been a fun show.
It really hasn't, bro.
It really hasn't.
It's just been. I know for a lot of people, but you know what? First of all, big at the chat. You lot are undefeated.
Yeah, you lot are going,
always.
man. You lot are phenomenal.
Do you know what I mean? No matter, listen, win, lose or draw, you guys are still here. You guys still rock with us. We have conversations. We are literally a family because sometimes I might get annoyed about someone's comment. I'll use you, Jammer, because I'm using an example. I might be like, no, I don't agree with that. And I might say something, Jammer will say something, but at the end of the day, it's an opinion. And it's okay. Because at the end of the day, we still support Liverpool. And we're still brothers at the end of the day. So, you know what I mean? Love to every single one of you. Yeah, brothers and sisters. Sorry. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, man. Carl, I think the point of today is this. Football, it's okay to have an opinion, even if it's unpopular. And not only that, don't ridicule someone just because you don't believe in it. You can disagree with someone and be like, I don't agree with that, you know. But you haven't got to batter them. You ain't got to be disrespectful to them. And not only that.
And stop asking me if I'm Klopp out because I'm not.
Yeah, that's just getting. That's
on a
so
real,
tired.
It really frustrated me. It really is.
That's so tired, bro.
Really, really frustrated.
Trust me.
Pete says, does Net's profit take into account wages? Maybe, but why does no one else's?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Why? I don't know what's going on, man.
I don't know.
Ash says, what are your thoughts on the Mo Chatra stuff? Well, first and foremost, he's just a G.
Trust me.
I'm glad we've got someone like Mo in our football community. I'm not going to lie. I think he's a real credit to the Liverpool fans.
Trust me.
And yeah, it's concerning. I'm concerned.
Yeah. And he's been as open, as honest as he is. These are the facts that he has and he's sharing with us. Remember, Mo doesn't have to say none of these things, you know? Because some people will just attack him. People that are really like, they'll just be like, nah, you know what? This guy's chatting too much about our stuff. We need to kind of, you know, fair play. Big up Mo.
Yeah, protect Mo at all costs, man.
Trust me.
At all costs.
Because he's telling us how it is, not sugarcoating. He's saying, this is what I've seen. Remember, he didn't even have to mention the 70 mil. He could have just been left that whole part out if he wanted to. Yeah. But he said that for a reason, because he wanted to make us aware this is something that he's seen or he's noticed because someone's put it in. He's like, okay, let me look into that. I'm not too sure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, facts. Right, Matt, anything you want to add before we take the people out, bro?
Bro, I just hope that we get back to being Liverpool again, bro. I guess last season, I was so used to doing Monday night shows, and I was in such a good mood, bro.
Oh,
Man was just
trust me.
happy. Now I'm coming into Monday night shows, and I'm like, this is great. This is amazing. This is great.
It's not the same, is it?
Yay. It's not, bro. It's not. It's a bit depressing. I can't lie to you, bro.
Mr. Dare say Drift says 70 mil pounds. Did it go to the upside down world? We don't know, man.
Bro, I don't even know.
Aiden says, big up, guys. Thoughts with Grives right now, getting cooked, roasting, all of that. Also, in Jan, do you want a CDM or box-to-box CM? Ideally, both. First and foremost, big up Grizz, because I know
Big
it's
up
gonna be
Grizz.
rough
Yeah,
for him on
he's
the big
getting
six,
it
bro.
rough, bro. Pause. But yeah, it's rough.
Out of the two, probably a box-to-box.
I was gonna say that as well.
Probably a box-to-box.
Yeah.
Guy Fawkes says, as always, Kane looks like Murphy.
Nah.
So that's a phenomenal way to end the show. It's a phenomenal way. Big up yourself, Guy Fawkes.
Trust me, big up Drift as well. Still,
Indeed, always big up Drift, guys. If you haven't already, check out the preview that Drift did early on the Napoli game. Also,
yes.
make
So
sure
and
you
just
join
sorry,
us.
guys. Quickly, it was
Go on, bro,
featuring
go on.
Monts. Oh yes, featuring Monts and Jerry James. They was on the
Aye,
preview
big show.
today. So yeah,
Big show.
big show. Make sure you go check it
Big
out.
show. And big up yourselves as always, people. We will be back tomorrow for the watch long versus Napoli. That should be fun. But yeah, people, thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button if you haven't already. It really does help us to grow as a channel. Till we see you tomorrow, people. Big up to yourselves. Nothing but love. Stay safe, stay blessed. We are Kopish and we're out, people. Take care.